Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel and another Flutter tutorial. As you can see in the video, I plan to implement the main pages of a barbershop and barber reservation app, which includes a homepage, a search page, a past reservations page, and finally a user profile page. The pages you see are part of a larger project, and I only intend to implement the designs I showed in Flutter. As you can see in the simulator, the final output will look like this. First, I'll implement a bottom navigation bar with a salmon design, and then I'll implement the home, search, calendar, and profile page in order. Let's implement this design together. As you can see in the video, I created an empty project and then exported the fonts, icons, and images from Figma and added them to the project. I also added them to the SVG file and used the Flutter gem package to manage assets. You can use this package or reference the files directly. Then I added a few classes and files needed for the project, which I'll show you one by one. As you can see, I've created a class for projects color, taken the required colors from Figma and added them there. Then I added two files for navigation and checking the device screen size. And in the widgets folder, I added a custom scaffold widget. The difference between this and Flutter's default scaffold is that it includes the SafeArea and limits the page size on larger screens. I also added another widget to display SVG files using the Flutter SVG package. As mentioned earlier, I'm also using Flutter gem package for project files management. And in the features directory, I added a feature for the homepage and create an empty home screen in the screens section, which only displays home screen text. And I added this to the main file and then created 4 empty classes for home, search, calendar, and profile. Alright, let's start by implementing the bottom navigation bar for the project. I go to the pub/spec file and add the Salmon Bottom Bar package. Then run the pub-get command to fetch the package. Then I return to the home page and create a variable for the index of the tab I want to display and setting it to 0. Then I create the list for the tabs. Now in the body of the page, I add the screens I created and start implementing the bottom navigation bar. In bottom navigation bar parameter, I added container widget, and as you can see in the design, I want to add the shadow shown in the Figma design to the bottom navigation bar. So I add a shadow to the containers decoration to match the Figma design. Then I added some spacing and then call the Salmon Bottom Bar class from the package we added. And now I implement its current index and untap parameters. For this, I create a method where I implement the design for the bottom navigation bar items. As you can see, this method takes the icon, title, and selected state of the item as parameters. Inside the items parameter, I call the method I created and pass the required parameters to it. The first item is for the home tab, so I'll pass the home icon and title to it and set its active state to current index equal 0. And then I'll implement the other items as well. Finally, I reload the project and you can see the bottom navigation bar. Alright, now let's start implementing the home page and its app bar. In the widgets directory, I create a new file called home AppBar and add a basic AppBar class to it. This AppBar consists of a profile image, some text, and a notifications icon. As you can see in the design, first I need to implement a bordered icon button for notifications. So I create a new file for this icon button in the general widgets directory and add the relevant codes. As you can see, this class takes an icon path and an unpressed parameter and displays a bordered icon button. Now I return to the home AppBar class and add the class I just created to the actions parameter and passing the required icon to it. Alright, now I'll implement the title section. Add a column widget with an item spacing of 8 and set its cross-axis alignment parameter to cross-axis alignment.start. Then I add the user's title text inside it and style it according to the Figma design. Font family is equal to font family dot actual light. And font size is equal to 16. Then I add a row widget to display the user's location. Now let's implement the user's profile image. I create a new Dart file for this and add a class that takes width and height as parameter and displays a circular profile image matching the given dimensions. Now I return to the home AppBar class and add the profile class I just created to the AppBar's leading parameter. Then I'm setting its width to 85, and then I'll adjust the spacing for the title and actions. And now I go to the home screen and add the home AppBar class to the AppBar parameter. If current index is 0, show home AppBar. Otherwise, I'll set it to null. I reload the project and you can see the result. Alright, now let's implement the search widget. I create a new file called search bar and add a stateless class with the same name. Then add a spacing with the padding widget and create a size box with a height of 15. And inside it, I use a card widget to style the search bar. Next, I add a horizontal padding and then a text field widget. As you can see, I disable its border in all states and pass the text from Figma to its hint text parameter. And finally, I style the hint text and pass the required color to it. Then in the prefix icon parameter, I add a horizontal spacing and place a search icon inside it, matching the Figma design. Now I go to the Home tab class and start implementing it. First, I add a single child scroll view widget and place a column inside it. Then I add the search box class I just created, and I reload the project so you can see the result. As you can see, the search box has a 16 pixel margin on all sides. To ensure this spacing is correct, I return to the home screen class and set the app scaffolds padding to 0. Then reload the project again, and you can see the result. Alright, now let's add the banner displayed on this tab. I've already exported the banner image from Figma and added it to the project. To display this image, I'll add a container with spacing from top and sides. And then I call the banner image inside it. and set its fit parameter to fit width. Then I reload the project and you can see the result. Alright, now let's implement the categories section. First, we need a general widget to display the title, which also includes a view button. So I create a widget for the view button and add a stateless class to it. Inside this class, I add a text button and place a view text in its child parameter. Then I'll add an orange container with 2 pixel padding and place an arrow icon inside it and styling the icon as needed. And then I create a new file for the titles. And inside it, add a stateless class that takes a title and onPressed parameter. Inside this class, I add the left and right padding and then a row widget, and inside it I add a text widget to display the title with the styling you see. Then I call view button I created earlier and add it to this class. After that, I return to the home page, call the title class I just created and pass the required title to it. I reload the project and you can see the result. I add some space and reload project again. Now I create a new file to display the list of categories. Inside this file, I add the required class and then add the images and titles I need, which I've already exported from Figma. And then I add a size box with a height of 100 and place a list view builder inside it with the parameters you see. Then I implement the item builder parameter. For this parameter, I add a column widget and place a container with a width and height of 70 inside it. And I style this widget according to the Figma design. Then I add a padding inside it, followed by a center widget, and display the image I exported from Figma and added to the project. And finally, I display the titles for the categories. Now I return to the Home tab and call the class I just created. And then I reload the project. You'll notice that this class needs improvements. So I'll go back to the previous class and add a horizontal margin to the container widget. The condition for this margin is that if the index is equals 0, the spacing is 16 pixels. Otherwise, it's 18 pixels. I reload the project again and you'll see the issue is resolved. Alright, now let's implement the services section. I'll create a new file for the services list. Import the material package. And then I create a new stateless class and add the image titles and addresses I need, which I've copied from Figma as a list. Next, I add a size box with a height of 2013 and place a list view builder widget inside it and set in its parameters. And then I'll implement the item builder parameter. Inside the item builder, I create a container widget with a width and height of 200 and style its decoration according to the Figma design. Then I add 8 pixel padding to it, followed by horizontal and vertical margins as shown in the video. The condition for the horizontal margin is the same as the previous list. Now inside it, I add a column widget with item spacing of 8 pixels and set its cross-axis alignment parameter to cross-axis alignment dot start. Then I'll add my image with the conditions you see, followed by the title and finally the addresses. And now I return to the home class and call the widget I just created. I reload the project and you can see the output up to this point. Now let's implement the bottom part of this list. Inside the services list class, I add a row widget and set its main axis alignment to space between. Then I add a text to display reviews and finally an an arrow icon as per the Figma design. I reload the project again, and so you can see the result. Now I go back to the Figma to discuss the review text styling. As you can see, the styling for the address text and the review text is the same. So it's better to create a general widget for these types of text. So I create a new file called light text and add a stateless class to display text with the styling from Figma. Then I return to the previous class and call the class I just created and improving its design. I reload the project and you can see the result. Finally, I create a few copies of the title and services list widgets and correct their titles. And I reload the project. Alright, now let's implement the search page design. I go to the class I previously created for this page and add a single child scroll view widget inside it, followed by a column widget. And then I call the search bar widget I just created and reload the project. Alright, now let's implement the list of top categories. Of course, this list could be the latest search, top search, or other data based on the project's logic. After creating the stateless class, I add the titles I copied from Figma to this class. Then I'll add a size box widget inside it and place a list view builder widget inside that. Next, I'll implement the item builder parameter. First, I add a left padding, then an equal for tab functionality and place a container inside it. Then I'll set its border radius parameter. And now I'll style the container's decoration according to the Figma and add horizontal padding inside it. And now I read the top categories text from the list I added earlier and set the first text color to the project's primary color. And now I return to the previous class and call the widget I created. And adding spacing between this widget and the search widget. And then I reload the project and you can see the result. After that, I'll copy the widgets I created for the services and add them to this page. And now I'll correct the titles according to the Figma design. I reload the project again so you can see the final result of this page. Alright, now let's implement the calendar page together. First, I go to the home screen class and set the calendar title there. Now I go to the class I previously created for the calendar. And inside it, add a list view builder widget. And then I add the images and titles we need to this class. Now in the list view builder widget, first I set the item count parameter to the length of the names list. And then I'll implement the item builder parameter. Inside this parameter, I first add a container and style it with spacing according to the Figma. Next, I add a row widget, inside it an internal item spacing of 16 and set its cross-axis alignment parameter to cross-axis alignment parameter dot start. And inside it, I add a container with a width and height of 110 and style it according to the Figma. Then I add a user's image inside it. I add an expanded widget to fill the remaining space in the list, and inside it, I add a column widget and set in its cross-axis alignment parameter. And then I add a row widget inside it and set its main axis alignment to space between. And inside it, I add a text widget to display the user's name and another text to display the service title. I reload the project and you can see the progress up to this point. Alright, now let's implement the rest of this list. First, I add some spacing, then text for the scheduled date, and add another small spacing, and then a row widget, setting its main axis alignment to space between, and inside it I display the required text for the payment amount. Alright, now let's add the see more button. I'll call an elevated button widget, set its unpressed parameter, and pass the see more text to it. And finally, I style the button and its text according to the Figma, and reload the project so you can see the final result of this list. Alright, now let's implement the profile page. But before that, we need to turn the elevated button we implemented into a general widget so we can use it on both pages. So I'll create a new file for this and add the required class inside it. Then I return the previous class and replace the elevated button widget with the one I created. And now I go to the profile tab file, and inside it add a single child scroll view widget followed by a column widget. And then I call the profile image widget I created earlier and setting its width and height according to the Figma design. Next, I add the required text for user's full name and email. And then I call the button widget I just created and set its title to edit profile. I reload the project. As you can see, the spacing between items is off. So I fix it and reload the project again. Alright, now let's implement the list style needed for the profile. I create a new file and add a stateless class inside it. I used Flutter's built-in list style widget here and style it according to the Figma design. Now I return to the previous class and call the widget I implemented and setting its title and icon according to the Figma design. I reload the project and you can see the result. And now I implement the rest of the items and refresh the project again. I go back to the Figma, and as you can see, the notifications and dark mode items have switched. So I'll add a switch widget to the trailing parameter of these items. I call the Quartino switch widget and set its value to true and implement its unchanged method. Then I change the color of this widget to the project's primary color. And reload the project. As you can see in the Figma, the switch is slightly smaller than the default Cupertino switch. So I use the transform.scale method to shrink it a bit. Then I add this switch to the dark mode item as well and set its value false and reload the project so you can see the final output project we built together. Thank you for watching, and if this video was helpful to you, please subscribe to my channel and like and share the video and hit the bell icon to get notifications for future videos. I will see you again in the next video.